Joe Biden opens up a dominant 16-point national lead in new CNN poll. President Trump is always calling CNN fake news. Is this for real? 16 points. If the Democratic candidate were to win by 16 points over the Republican, that would be a historic landslide victory never before seen in American politics. So basically, CNN is saying that Joe Biden is leading by a margin never before seen in the 250-year history of the United States. Let's read a little bit because they really lay it on. Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden has opened up a lead of 16 percentage points over Trump nationwide in a CNN SSRS poll. Well, that makes it sound official. All those letters of likely voters released Tuesday morning. Unfortunately, 50% of people do not vote. People are pointing this out. So you can poll people and say, well, who would you vote for? And then 50% of those people don't vote. Biden's lead, 57% to 41%, is an increase from previous polls. So his lead is increased. But since this is CNN's first national poll of likely voters, companions aren't exact. Okay. The poll was conducted October 1st to 4th after the first presidential debate, and mostly after Trump's Wu flu diagnosis was made public. Okay, so they did it right after the debate, hot on the heels of the debate, and right after Trump was infected with Wu flu. Okay, and people were shocked. You know, the president gets sick, people get upset. Okay, so I'm wondering if this is a biased poll because it just doesn't sound right. We're going to look at some of the other. We're going to tackle Biden Trump. Here it is in graphic format. Okay, and so this is probably the Wu flu diagnosis where Trump's support drops and they're saying Biden's skyrockets. I did watch the debate with some interest, and I don't think Biden did very well, and I think Trump was his usual brash self. So I want to look at who's winning, and very famously 4 years ago, I did a GT, a grand tableau of the Magus, with all 50, is it 54 cards? 54 cards, all 54 cards. And I predicted the Trump win. And remember how the mainstream media was just every day hammering home how Hillary could not lose against Trump, and they were calling people deplorables and bigoted, and anybody who votes for Trump is a terrible person, and related to that German guy who, whatever. So I predicted it then. So I want to look at who's winning. I'm going to look at who's winning. Now, with regard to who's winning, Biden and Kamala Harris just kicked off their tour in Arizona. Literally nobody showed up. Boy, that's excitement. If former President Joe Biden and his running mate are so popular, then why can't they draw a crowd? The two kicked off their Soul of the Nation bus tour in Arizona this week, but they also came into Phoenix to meet with a tribal council. At that meeting, there were exactly no supporters. It is unbelievable that a national tour can begin with not a single person holding a campaign sign. But let's put this in perspective by asking a simple question. Has Trump ever landed anywhere to kick off something and nobody shows? Quite the contrary. Trump got around the Wu flu nonsense by landing Air Force One at various airports where he is greeted by thousands. This happens anywhere and everywhere, but for Biden, not so much. So literally nobody's showing up for Biden or Harris. Okay, and she's very pedantic. Harris is very pedantic, like a school teacher. And people are saying, gosh, I don't want to listen to that for 4 years. And we know who's really going to be president. They're going to 25th Amendment Biden 3 months after he gets in, and they're going to make Kamala president. Okay, the first black female president, and they're going to say, oh, this is wonderful, representation. Well, we had Barack Obama as president. everybody, I loved Barack Obama. I like to say everybody loved Barack Obama because I feel like he was just swept into office. I don't feel he did an amazing job. I really don't. I would point at a lot of things. His trademark issue was healthcare, and he did such a terrible job on the nationalized healthcare. I literally don't know how you can screw it up that bad. I did federal contracting for 5 years, and how is it possible that the drug prices did not go down 50%? I honestly can't tell you because I worked in federal contracting. That is literally impossible that the drug prices actually went up. But they did. I tell you what, I can make the, as a federal, work, I can do that. I can do that. I'm not president of the United States. I've done it a million times. I know how to do that. I was in federal contracting for part of my career. How do you screw it up that bad? I don't know. I don't know. And the other thing that we want to look at is former GOP congressional candidates suggest Trump was deliberately, with Wu flu at the debate. So, did the Democrats infect Trump? A former GOP congressional candidate in California has claimed that the Democrats deliberately infected Donald Trump with Wu flu when the microphone and podium were set up for the president at Tuesday's presidential debate. He came down with Wu flu right after the presidential debate. Deanna Lorraine, who is also a conservative commentator, tweeted her statement providing no evidence to support her claims on early Friday morning. And Melania Trump also got it. I know Deanna Lorraine. I watch her stuff. I like her. You should look her up and watch her. She's on YouTube. Good day, YouTubers. Welcome back to my channel. Time for a spot of royalty. Today we're going to look at Trump-Biden. I did that rather very famously 4 years ago when I predicted the Trump win against all odds. I didn't have a horse in the race at the time. I was rather ambivalent about Hillary Clinton winning versus Trump. And I actually thought that Hillary Clinton might be a good candidate because William Jefferson Clinton was beside her, and William Jefferson Clinton balanced the budget, which I thought was an amazing feat. I'm not sure how many trillions of dollars we're in debt right now. So I want to take a look at this. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at how much they're gaslighting us, how much dirty pool they're playing. That's kind of what this is about. Biden, they're trumpeting that Biden has a 16-point lead over Trump right now. That's unprecedented in American history. So let's do a mini. Did CNN intentionally spin this poll against Trump? Are they biased? Because those numbers are insanity. Did CNN intentionally spin this poll against Trump? And, Magi's, they were in the king's palace. They were as wealthy as the kings themselves, because without the Magi were like the top counselors. They ran everything. Without the Magi, the king didn't exist. The king would fall. So he had to have the best Magi around him. And Daniel, for instance, the prophet Daniel, he was chief of the Magi. He ran all the Magi in Babylon. That was his job. And he was a very godly man. So, and the three kings, the three wise men, they were Magi who visited the birthplace of Jesus in Bethlehem in the stall, in the manger. They were called the three kings. They were called the three Magi, the three wise men. Why were they called kings? Because they were Magi. They were the king's counselors, and they were astrologers, diviners. They they were as wealthy and powerful as the kings themselves. So it's very appropriate to do, as a Magi, it's extremely appropriate to do a political read, because that's the place of the Magi. So that is the historical place of the Magi. So what do we have here? Is it a biased poll? Hand in hand, many people over long distances permanently in the U.S. 13, 23, 6 club. There's nothing here. They just asked a whole bunch of people and covered as much distance as possible, and people, in the spine of America, they asked. Cross is a good spine word. Strength, deeply rooted, reacting. Home, the homeland. People in, closely associated. Water into wine, and sun. Things changed after a sudden event. Okay, so Donald Trump was diagnosed with Wu flu very suddenly. And so this changed things for people. And people having to make a decision. So I'm not seeing any deception here. They're actually, as much as they can be, they're trying to be honest. I'm a little shocked. I thought I would see some really dirty pool showing in this latest poll, but they're trying to be honest. Let's look at Trump-Biden. Who's ahead? Is Donald Trump ahead, or is Joe Biden ahead? Because from my point of view, just looking at Joe Biden, he looks really old to me, and he looks not well, and he looks not very sharp. And historically, you want a great warrior to lead your country. And we had great warriors lead our country. We had generals lead our country. That was very common in the beginning. And let's be honest, we haven't changed that much. We want somebody who's going to be tough and who can really take care of business when the times get tough. If China is going to take advantage of us or attack us, we want somebody like Donald Trump. God forbid somebody like Joe Biden's in office or Kamala Harris. That terrifies me. And they want to take away your ability to defend yourself and all these terrible things. You want a warrior. And that has not changed. And if you look, I think there's 200 countries on the earth. If you look at all of them, probably 198 of them have warriors running their country, because that's who runs things. Okay, the great generals, the people who can, kick ass and take names. And Donald Trump is a whole lot more like that than Biden. So just looking at Biden, he looks old, he looks sick, and he doesn't look like he's got all his faculties. That right there says to me that I don't see how he can win. So let's look at Trump-Biden. Who is winning? Is Trump winning, or is Biden winning? Because this latest poll is saying Biden is winning. Trump, this is Biden. So who's winning? Is it Trump or Biden? Inheritance, okay, inheritance of the people. 20, 30, 8 diamonds. Money, 8 diamonds, cornucopia. Fox, very clever. Fox is a good ruling card. Fox is feminine energy. They both got feminine energy. So management is feminine. Okay, policing is very feminine. I don't know if a lot of people think like this, but policing is a very, very feminine job. You're managing the resources, the place, and the people moving in the place. They're managers. Okay, he's running a country. He's applying to run the country. So it's very feminine energy. Management is very feminine. And so alongside with the police, you see these big burly guys with muscles and they tackle people and throw them on the ground and handcuff them. That's an illusion. It's a very feminine job. And I know people who were police. My father was a policeman. My brother was a policeman. Uh, I almost became a policeman many times. I worked in that field a lot. Anyway, so Fox moving the pieces around inheritance city. So 30 everything. We got 2 everything cards. He is very wisely managing the inheritance. So who's winning? So very solid. You can't get a more solid card than 10 diamonds. I think that Trump got the 10 diamonds in the spread 4 years ago, and that's why I predicted him as the winner with having the 10 diamonds. Here it is right in the center. What do we have for Biden? We have no. That's not good. We have woman, and we have handcuffs. Full committed to the woman, full stop. Oh my gosh. 11 and 12. So he's going to hand over, if you elect Biden, he's going to hand it off to Kamala. Kamala's actually going to be the president. Okay, so you're not voting for Joe Biden. You're voting for Kamala Harris, and he's going to be kicked out under the 25th Amendment. And people are going to rejoice. Oh, great. Our president is incapacitated. We should rejoice about this, just like we should rejoice about people burning down our cities in the riots. Okay, so it's interesting how this reads. But so far, I would say Trump, because he has the 10 diamonds. Yeah. So he's committed to not being president and giving it to Kamala. What do we have here? Mustard seed and Jacob's ladder adds 2 diamonds. Casting your ballot. The mustard seed can be a ballot. Committed to casting the ballot. Executioner, very suddenly. Heart, 2 diamonds. 3, 26. Okay, no, 16. 13 and 3. 16. 4 spades. 16. So it's going to happen very suddenly. It's interesting. What an interesting read. So he's going to give it over to Kamala, which is what people are suspicious of. And Trump has the 10 diamonds. I think Trump is going to win. That's not as clear as I would like it. The cards want to talk about other things. So I think this up here talks the King of Spades, Ace of Hearts, 2 diamonds. It talks about, everything will change in just a very, very suddenly with the executioner. So there is the conspiracy. There's people saying that Trump was intentionally infected with Wu flu at the debate. Let's just ask, because we can ask anything, and I think this is something that people want to know. Was there did they intentionally infect Trump with Wu flu to slow him down, stop him from holding rallies, which it didn't even stop him. He's just too clever for them. Did they intentionally infect him with Wu flu? Ooh, oh my. Finally we hit some pay dirt. Finger of God, Star of Bethlehem. Star of Bethlehem is a great, that's a disease card. It spreads everywhere. High tower can be like needle or official. A high tower is tall and long and straight. It can be literally like a needle. So they stuck him with Wu flu. Yeah, it's overt. Yeah, they gave him Wu flu. Absolutely. They intentionally gave him Wu flu. 1423 to affect his health. 6 clubs is a great health card. Butterfly is a bug. It flies through the air. Devil and angel. Devil and angel. A devil acting like an angel. Suddenly, the chalice is broken. Yeah, so they intentionally infected him. That's crazy. So there was a plot. There used to be for all the kings, there was somebody who was a taster who would taste all the food that the king ate before they ate it, so that the king wasn't poisoned. And we don't talk about stuff like this anymore, but that sort of thing still goes on. People are constantly trying to attack, the people at the top in power to stop them. Will Trump, what I'm kind of anticipating is that Donald Trump will win, maybe rather aggressively, although this is not showing this. Last time he got 10 diamonds and he won, and that's why I predicted it, because of the 10 diamonds showing up with Donald Trump in his line. So I'm going to say Trump is clearly ahead, but the cards here want to talk about Biden handing it over to Kamala. So what I'm anticipating is that Trump will be declared the victor on November 3rd, but they've got all this nonsense of the mail-in ballots. And this clear victory may be whittled away by these nonsense and maybe suspicious ballots, mail-in ballots. So will Trump be declared the victor on November 3rd? Will he be declared the victor on November 3rd? In the, people showing up for the election. Do we have Trump being declared the victor on November 3rd? Secret, veil, hidden, in the situation, very emotionally. 22, 29, 8 hearts. Oh dear. Yeah, so these mail-in ballots are a huge unknown, and people are going to be very, very upset about it. And that's what's right on the surface. The mail-in ballots are a huge unknown, and people are going to be very, very, very emotional about it. Scourge and Magi whittling away. They're manifesting a whittling away of the presidency. 26, 29. 8 hearts. We have transformation both times. Okay, so will they swing a clear victory with the mail-in ballot? Well, that is what they're saying. They're transforming. Yeah, it's going to be on November 3rd, overwhelmingly. This says it's a huge unknown, and people are very, very upset about it. And they're manifesting a whittling away of the clear results on November 3rd. This is the first time in American electoral history, and this should not happen. And it's all this nonsense because 0.03% of the population died from the Wu flu. Okay, and the average age of death of people with Wu flu is 82 and a half years old. Okay, and the average death of people before Wu flu was 81 and a half years old. So you have to be older to die from Wu flu than when people normally just die from natural causes and any other reason. So it's crazy. So because there's a 0.03% chance that you could die, they're shutting down the whole country. Even the WHO has come out. So this is nonsense, what they're doing with the mail-in ballots. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. And I don't think they'll ever do that again because it's a catastrophe. It's a catastrophe, what they're doing. So let's review. Okay, was this poll showing Biden 16 points ahead? Was it completely intentionally spun against Trump? No, they did it honestly. They did it honestly. Okay, and what that means is maybe people are just not, people don't like being called bigoted and deplorable, so they just don't tell. Some stranger calls on the phone. You don't know who this person is, and you don't know what they're going to do with your information, and you don't want people coming in and busting your windows, and saying nasty things about you. So people just say, "Oh yeah, I'm for Biden," and that happened. That happened with Clinton. People weren't admitting that they were for Trump and were voting for Trump, and then Trump won. Okay, rather decisively he won. Let's look at Trump-Biden. Who is winning? Interesting read here. I do say Trump is winning because he has the 10 diamonds, but he is president. So, I mean, he would be sitting in the power seat uh, on top of the whole world. This, interestingly, says that Biden's just going to give away the presidency to Kamala. And this decision will all be made very suddenly with the King of Spades. So that's all it wanted to give us. Was Trump intentionally infected with the Wu flu, as a nefarious thing? Yeah, got the devil and imposed. They intentionally infected Trump to knock him out. Really, really dirty. Will Trump be declared the victor on November 3rd? A lot of this is kind of a no, because of all of the mail-in ballots. They're manifesting something completely different. This is very dangerous for our society. A lot of people are predicting civil war, and some people are predicting that, some states might secede from the union. If you can't trust the election, you can't, you just can't do it. This is very, very, very bad, this nonsense of the mail-in ballots. That's how I see it. I'm Joseph Magi, author of Playing Card Divination, Fortune Telling, the Magi Method. Find the book worldwide on Amazon and Kindle and paperback versions. Find the full color card deck used here on Etsy/Magi Method. Many thanks to the generous folks who bought me a cup of tea. Please feel free to like, share, subscribe.